started with declaring variables. Let's start with something else. So we'll just make initial value of this variable is 0. So now we'll start with function. So function is smaller piece of code which you can call across at different part of the program. So the keyword for defining a function is def, and then I'll start my function name, my function brackets, and anything you write inside it is an argument. And then we go for the next one, and you see this colon is saying it is the starting point of this function, and then we do not have anything to, anything like curly braces or anything, right? So if you look here, there is an, you see we have an indent here, right? So I am writing the code from here. So what happens is this indent is very important for Python. So whatever you write here is considered is part of that particular function, or anything after this this colon, right? So anything belongs to this part is written here, and we define it using that and Python understands it using those indents here. Okay. Now I'll write down. So first is let's start with a very basic function. So I'll say print I am a function. Okay. Now what I have to do is when I write this function, I have to call it as well, right? So my function, and then I'll just call it like this, and once I run it, it is printing. I am a function, so it is actually printing this. Okay, line number 4. I can even pass the arguments here. So I'll say is x comma y are two variables I'm going to pass here. So I'll say 1 and 2, and then what I'll do is I'll make it z. Okay, now look here. So I'll put z equal to x plus y, and then I'll just print here is z. Okay, now let me run it. So it is 3. Okay, we know it is 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. Now if I print z here, what will happen? What is the expected value? Not zip. Okay, so let's run it. So it is showing 0 because it is a global variable and it is there at the beginning, and then we are printing it. Now if I need to replace the value, so here you see like this z is different than this z. Again, these two are different variables. But if we want to refer this particular variable, then what we have to do is we have to do global z, and then don't come zip again. So again you see 3. So what we did is we referred this particular z, we said it is a global variable, and then we overwritten the value, and here we see it has been overwritten. Okay. Now we already okay, there is one more thing left, we can return. Okay, so we can return a value, and when we return a value, if you need to print it, like for any other function, you just have to put it in a variable, or you can print it here. So I'll print it here. So let's run it, and it is 3. So here I'll put a little bit more. I am return I am in a function plus str and z. Okay, so let's run it. So it is saying this 3 is from that function, and then the second one is print. Okay, so function is easy. So let's see what else we can do. So variable, okay, let's see, let's do one more thing. So if we do not know how many values we are going to pass to any argument, so what we do is we use the star symbol, and then what we can do is we have to